Hey there, productivity seekers. Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of tasks? I know I do, and it's not a great feeling. But what if I told you there's a simple method to tackle your biggest, scariest tasks head on? That's right. Today we're diving into Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. This book has sold over 2 million copies worldwide, and for good reason. It's changed my life, and it might just change yours too. So, grab a cup of coffee, and let's jump in. First things first, what's with the weird title? Well, it comes from a quote by Mark Twain. He said, "Eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day." Tracy takes this idea and runs with it. In his book, the frog is your biggest, most important task, the one you're most likely to procrastinate on. And Tracy says we should eat that frog first thing every day. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I hate doing those big tasks. Trust me, I felt the same way. Remember that time I had to write a 20-page report for work? I kept putting it off, and the stress was killing me. But when I finally sat down and tackled it first thing in the morning, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. The rest of my day felt so much easier and more productive. Tracy breaks down this concept into 21 practical tips, but we will be looking at 5 of them. Let's look at a few that really stood out to me. Tip 1. Set the table. This means writing down your goals and planning your day. I used to wing it, but now I spend 10 minutes each night planning the next day. It's made a huge difference in my focus and productivity. Tip 2. Apply the 80-20 rule. This rule says that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. I realized I was spending way too much time on little tasks that didn't matter much. Now, I focus on the big stuff first. Tip 3. Focus on key result areas. These are the things that really matter in your job or life. For me, it was improving my coding skills. Once I started dedicating time to this every day, my career took off. Tip 4. Slice and dice the task. Big tasks can be overwhelming. I remember feeling paralyzed by a huge project at work. But when I broke it down into smaller steps, it suddenly felt manageable. Tip 5. Motivate yourself into action. Tracy suggests being your own cheerleader. I felt silly at first, but saying things like, "I can do this," actually helps. Now, the book isn't perfect. Some tips feel a bit repetitive, and not all of them will work for everyone. But the core message is solid. Tackle your biggest, most important task first. One thing I love about this book is how practical it is. Tracy doesn't just give abstract advice. He provides concrete steps you can take right away. I started applying these tips the very next day after reading the book. Let's talk about how this book has helped me. Before, I was always rushing to meet deadlines. I felt stressed and overwhelmed all the time. But after applying Tracy's methods, I found myself getting more done in less time. I even started finishing work early some days. The best part? This isn't just about work. I've applied these principles to my personal life too. Remember that guitar I bought years ago and never learned to play? Well, I'm finally taking lessons, and it's all because I made it my frog for a while. Now, I want to hear from you. What's your biggest frog right now? What task are you avoiding that you know you should do? Drop it in the comments below. So, there you have it. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, a book that sold over 2 million copies and changed countless lives, including mine. Remember, the key is to tackle your biggest, most important task first thing every day. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. If you found this review helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more book reviews and productivity tips. Until next time, happy frog eating